Hey everyone, welcome to ColorByFeliks. Thank you for being here. Let's go straight to it. I'm going to be using my M1 blending brushes for this project and my number 8, number 4, and a 0 detail brush. I use these a lot. We're going to need a palette knife and I'm going to use palette paper, my 24 set of acrylics, and these are the colors: medium yellow, orange, scarlet, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, and lamp black. And then for my 5 set, titanium white. We're gonna need paper towels, a jar of water, and finally I'm gonna be painting on a 12 by 16 inch studio canvas. It is all ready to go. All these art materials are available at ColorByFeliks.com if you're interested. Let's get to it. So I'm gonna pick up my water jar and quickly glaze water over my canvas. What that does is it stretches out the loose ends and makes my canvas nice and firm once it's dry. Alright, next I'm going to pick up my titanium white and I'm going to squeeze about a thumb amount of white, and each time I add a little bit less. So I'm going to start with just 4 colors. Always remember to close your lid. Next we're going to pick up orange and squeeze a very small amount to our first one and our third color, a little more on the third one. Next we're gonna pick up scarlet red and add a little bit on the first one and a little more on this one, about half a thumb amount. And then cerulean blue, a little more on that one, and then about half a thumb amount of cerulean blue on the second one. A little bit of ultramarine blue to the first one and more to the second one. Next we're gonna need medium yellow, add a little bit to the third one, and then lamp black, about a little less than half a thumb. Now we're gonna mix all our colors. This is the first base of our sky, so I like to start from the furthest distance and work whatever is closest to me. And today we're gonna paint a simple background sky with some clouds, and these are the base colors. Once I'm done mixing, I'm gonna pick up my water jar and a M1 blending brush, and I'm gonna dab it in the water and squeeze part of the water out. I'm gonna have my water jar next to me where it's easy access. Then I'm gonna start with this first color, and I have a little bit of water in my brush, but not too much. If you see some bubbles like that, that's a good sign. That means you have enough water and paint. But if you see water dripping, that means you have too much water and you want to just pick up a little more paint with your brush. And quickly swirl and lay it out. This is a quick process, and I'd encourage you guys to practice this, because once you catch the technique of blending, it's a lot of fun and you can do a lot of cool blends with different colors. So now I'm going to add the top sky of the blue, the darker blue, and quickly lay it out with water and paint. And after that's laid out, I'm gonna quickly then just real quick clean out my brush. It doesn't have to be fully clean, but then I'm gonna squeeze the water out, and then I'm gonna start with the yellow orange that we mixed, and then lay out the lighter color on the bottom here, because that's where the bigger clouds will be. And the light is coming from the right side and hitting our clouds from the right side, and we're gonna just keep that in mind. And now I'm gonna add the darkest and last color quickly, randomly. And this is, remember, this is base color, so it does not have to be perfect. It's almost acts like burnt umber, you know how people use that to lay out your first kind of background color. So I just like to use color instead of, sometimes, you don't need to use burnt umber. It's totally up to you which color you want to use for the background as the base. So now I use the dry blending brush to quickly blend everything in, and when my background is dry, I mixed some colors similar to what I've mixed for my beginning. Maybe a few colors like orange and darker reds, and a little bit of darker gray blue colors for my clouds. And now I'm just adding another layer. Everything's about layering, so just keep that in mind. And I'm using my number 4 brush, and my brush has a little bit of water, so I dab it in the water and tap it on the paper towel so my brush is nice and soft, and that's what creates a nice kind of smooth transition and blends in nicely. So this is the second layer, and I'm kind of sketching out the shadows and adding all my darks and lights, and kind of shaping out my clouds. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to add the third layer and finalize it by adding all the little details. And I'm only going to be using my number 4 and my number 8 brush right here for these parts. And then finally, for the last little details, I will use my detail brush to kind of finalize everything. So I hope you guys will enjoy the process. This will take some time to kind of sketch out and there's no right way of doing this, so you could totally, add your own, darker areas, lighter areas. So this is the fun part of creating. And I don't really have like exact plan for this, so I'm just drawing and seeing where it takes me. Alright, so now I am adding my third layer and final layer, and I mix some more colors and similar colors. Again, sometimes the shading could be a little off, but that's okay. The more different kind of similar colors you add to your paintings, the more interesting your painting will look. So that is totally okay that it's not exact. And actually, I remember when I first started painting with acrylics, I always try to find a way to bottle my acrylics or save them, or like find a way to spray water and put them in small containers, so that I can reuse them the next day. I remember all that hassle, and sometimes, a lot of the times, it didn't work well anyway. So over time I realized that this is actually better and easier to just remix your colors again, and also creating a different kind of shading. It makes the painting look even more interesting. So now you can spend as much time going back and forth and adding as many layers as you want to your painting. And that's what's cool about acrylics, is actually I prefer that it dries, because once it dries you can then add another layer on top and kind of keep adding layers until you're happy with it. So now I'm adding the little details and going over some of the clouds again as the final layer, and then after that I'll go over with a detail brush to add even smaller details, and also add a little moon and little stars. Having fun with this now. Once I finish the clouds, I'm gonna let it dry, and then I decided to add a couple palm trees for fun. So I mixed a darker shade with lamb black and scarlet red to give it that warm look. So I quickly draw everything with my 1/2 inch flat brush and try to get the shape of the palm trees that I like. And then once I added the base of my palm trees, I'll go back and make it a little more solid and use my detail brush to add all the little branches and things like that. And that is the final details I'll add to this painting. This is the last closest thing to us, right? So you see how we first painted the sky colors, and then we added the clouds next. That's the next closest thing to us. And the final thing is the palm trees. Once I'm done adding all the details, I'm gonna seal my painting using Gamvar Gloss Varnish and a 2-inch flat foam brush. Usually I wait to have more than one painting before I start varnishing, but you can varnish right away once the painting is dry. So the painting altogether took me about 5-6 hours to paint this one. And usually it dries within a day. This varnish does not smell, so you can do it inside. And here it is, here's the layer. I'm gonna let it sit, and tomorrow it'll be nice and ready to go. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Thank you for watching. And by the way, if you're interested in learning with me as your mentor, check out my mentorship program where I teach in-depth how to paint with acrylics step by step. Alright guys, see you next time. Take care and God bless.